back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Ruhl, that guy over there, four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. We have Sam Flannel here in the house. We have JB Smoove as well. We're doing our monthly show here at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer. The timing's good, too. Brand new shipment of Chevy Blazers. They've been tough to get. If you want to get one, if you're in the market for one, pull up on us here, as my good friend Joik Bell used to say, at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. Come see our people out here. But DMac, you've been away for a little bit. I've been away for a little bit. We have reconvened here. Obviously, we got the DeBrincat stuff to get into. Isaiah Stewart signs an extension with the Detroit Pistons. We will touch on that as well. I do have a question for you, though, DMac. And look, you are a guy. You're active. You're an old soul, but you're active. And I have a question for you because you are a baseball degenerate. You're the last man alive that watches Sunday Night Baseball every Sunday. I'm sorry, you are. It's appointment viewing for you. I know you were tapped into the home run derby last night. What did you think?
You know what? You got to take it for what it is. And I think in all sports, they've evolved in the way that we watch them isn't like it was when I was a kid. But like as far as excitement or new age or getting into it, I got dialed into it just to watch just when you start 41 home runs, was that what? 41 home runs in the second round. But just watching the balls just fly out of the ballpark, there's something to it. And I think maybe it's that, just going back to being a kid on the playground. Everybody knows what it's like to play home run derby and stuff like that. So to watch the best of the best and to eventually, I was pulling for Vlad Jr. I mean, anytime you can get first-time ever father-son winners in a home run derby or whatever like that, and it's just amazing. That kid swings at everything, too. It runs in the blood. But, yes, I was dialed into that, flipping back and forth between a few, obviously Monday Night Raw, and my boy Tommy was out in H2O, so I was watching IWTV, but watching home runs fly out of that ballpark was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I saw, and I'm following along on socials and stuff like this, and I don't understand the hate, right? Like, if you don't like it, turn it, right?
Yeah.
But it was entertaining. And, what really got me, too, is the way they make it a party with the music and everything like that. Although, what was up with... was it Pete Alonso's pitcher was struggling a little bit?
He was painting the black, and he was working the corners, as they would say.
He was auditioning for a job. I was like, it's like if Drapes was out there in warm-up, dude, you're retired. You're the assistant GM now. You can't play anymore, right?
Jump into that woodwardsports.com chat thread. Subscribe to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. And while you're at it, the Big D Energy podcast page as well, wherever you get your podcast, jump into there. If you'd be so kind, leave it a 5-star review as well so we can get the algorithms pumping a little bit. And, I asked this because, our new guy here, Alex, behind-the-scenes guy right now at Woodward Sports, youngster, 21, right? 21 years old. And I have to ask because my son is 15, and he made his way down into the living room, and I flipped it on, and I had it on, and it always catches me when something catches his attention because their attention's hard to corral. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not yelling at the clouds. I'm open to change and all that kind of stuff. But the home run, just the format, it's too much, DMac. Like, too much is going on. I can't see. They're just rapid fire. You don't see where they're all going. You don't see where they're all landing and stuff like that. You
can't see the kids are getting beat in the outfield.
Well, all of it. All of it.
Right, yes. I do agree thematically, they should slow it down, or if you were going to take my opinion, right, that it's new age, right? It makes sense. It's the give it to me now, give it to me now, give it to me now. So my question is, did your son stop and watch for a little bit? Was he entertained? Because to me,
for about 5 minutes, yes.
It wasn't our home run contest, right?
And that's fine.
Right?
That's fine.
But I got what Major League Baseball was trying to do, and I think they made it as enjoyable for, the guys that were participating. Again, I see it in the woodwardsports.com chat thread. Get in if you're if you want to. But the thing is that look at the guys, the lineup, right? So you have, 8 guys, and like 4 of them maybe should be in the competition. Like some guys opt out. So until you get the best of the best, like the Otanis and the Trouts and the name guys, that's when it is. But I agree with you, Neal. You're right. And it is a little bit. You're looking at the clouds. You're not yelling at them, but but slow it down a titch to see where the ball goes.
I just want to see the ball.
I get it.
When you hit it, I just want to see where it goes, man. Like, I'm weird like that, I guess. Maybe that's old. Maybe I'm being old. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm yelling at the clouds.
It was more of a video game.
It,
right? Like
it
what
was,
we watched
which
last
is probably
night,
why my son stopped and locked into it.
I totally
and so
understood.
I get it.
Right? Maybe here's the one thing, and I'm older than you, so I might have gotten there just a little bit quicker. It's like when I see things and go, man, like my first reaction is like, like, man, why are they doing it like that? But then it's trying to understand and say, oh, okay, right? What do I always say? Don't tell me right or wrong. Just I need to know the why. It explained it. I thought they did a great job for what they had. It was entertaining, and people seemed to enjoy it that were baseball fans or, right, got your son's attention that for 5 minutes. That's 5 more minutes than they did last week.
That's a victory for them.
Victory for them. When's the last time he stopped? Did he stop? Does he stop at the Tiger?
Hates baseball.
Hates it. So, you know what I mean? He got a little bit of you got a squeeze out of him.
Yep. So, hey, I get it. Mission accomplished, all that kind of stuff. They're not doing it for you and I. They already have you and I. We're indoctrinated into baseball. You watch Sunday Night Baseball, for Christ's sake, still.
But that's me. But I'm an old soul.
You are certainly an old soul. Wyatt Bear in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread says, since 2011, my friends and I have a home run derby bracket. Now betting makes it fun, too. And it's all of those things, right? I think, low-key, that's a reason – because none of this stuff is like a silver bullet, right? There's not just one thing you can do and make stuff better. I think that's played a lot for the drafts. Betting has really, because it's something to get down on. You know what I'm saying? That you couldn't before. I think they had live odds running during the home run derby and stuff like that. 100%, that plays to it too, DMac.
Well, that's what you see what they're doing. That's all like I said. I can understand the why. And for people that were live betting and all that stuff, that it's a different way, right? That's 2023, bringing in the people in. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers were.
Yeah.
Really, really, it'll be interesting to see. Did it get a couple extra? Just for that fact, people just got to, and they got money on it, they're going to pay attention.
And it's just literally, DMac, nothing else on. The wrestling crowd has their wrestling, but is it.
But that's like the caveat, like if you got a show on Monday night.
Yeah, that is it.
So,
that's the way it works.
They did a good job in taking advantage of nothing else being around there. Because was it entertaining, Neal? Absolutely. Absolutely, it was entertaining. You get the semantics about the structure of the event.
Yeah, and look, like I know you talked about like the Otanis and the Trouts and people like that in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread are talking about that. Did you see Vlad Guerrero at the end of that? If I'm the Angels, Otani is never going to be in that. Like, I get it.
That's the whole thing. You understand? Well, I mean, and Otani's special because he's a pitcher also.
Right.
So he's never going to be in that because, like, how many home runs did he eventually hit at the end? Like, these guys hit 80 to 100 home runs.
Yes.
I mean, they're spent. They got to be done for a few days.
Give people perspective, DMac, if you were in a slap shot contest back in the day, if you had 100 slap shots in a short burst of time frame, how gassed would you be?
You're gassed. I mean, if you got to bring it like boom, 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 even if you're shooting 25 of them for every 5 minutes,
gassed.
Rack
says, I think they did the best they could with the participant. Can't help it that guys don't want to enter these days. And like I said, man, if I'm the Angels, Otani's not in that thing, no matter what. And I know it sucks.
Yeah, but
it is what it is.
That's an easy one because he's a pitcher also.
Right.
The fact is that you would say that, and you understand why a guy like Mike Trout doesn't. And where you got to watch injuries and stuff, you don't want to see the best of the best out there swinging. Maybe they got to find a different format because that's probably what deters a lot of the top guys. Right? Watch it. If you're saying it. Right? other guys are going, I don't want to be Vlad today. It's going to take him a week to recover.
Right.
And then is your swing off because you're just, it's like trying to hit bombs on the golf course.
Well, Vlad had been struggling. I have Vlad on my fantasy team. He's been struggling a little bit in the first half for Vlad. Granted, he'd be the best hitter on the Tigers.
I thought you were
going to
say he faced the Tigers coming out.
No, he's not Javi Baez struggling. Like he's, he's struggling for Vlad. So I'm kind of hoping the reverse happens. Like he got in a little bit of a rhythm, and now he gets a roll.
Maybe that's also what he was thinking. I'm sure that's what it is.
I hope so.
Right? Get back into the sandbox and pound the ball.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. iHearter says, morning, all the Wings have a goal scorer. Larkin is a sniper. Larkin has a sniper. The sun is shining. We're going to get into that coming up in about 4 minutes. DMac and I haven't had the show together since the dust has settled, so we'll run through all. I want to get a little geeky on the hockey stuff with DMac. I want to see how he fits, pick DMac's brain, what he thinks the lines will look like, all of that stuff. I know you had a couple financial questions that you wanted to ask me as well, so we'll work through all of that together. Sue Sleepy Weaver gives low sodium beef stew $17 million. Now they have $40 million plus combined and no defense. Big bums. Well, Sue, we'll talk about that because there's an angle to beef stew's contract that a lot of the media that aren't versed in this haven't covered, haven't brought up, and I'll explain to you. The AAV. The annual salary was juiced a little bit because of an option the Pistons have. You got to pay the premium for it. That's the way that it works. So we'll touch on it. Don't worry. We're going to get there. We're going to get to all that. I do have to address this before we go to the break. This can't be true. Can't be. Jack Harrington, Neal, did you know Sam Flannel has the Jets in the AFC title game, LMAO?
I do.
You do not.
Yes. Losing at Arrowhead.
I will bet you anything in the world you want to bet that they do not get to the AFC title game.
All right, fine. I will take that bet because people like you and every other people around here act like they're going to be a 6-11 team or something like that. That's not going to happen.
They're more likely to be 6-11 than they are to go to the AFC championship game.
Absolutely not. But they're going to play the Monstars at Kansas City at Arrowhead, and that's when they will lose, but not a second before then.
Lunch.
Okay.
Book it. That's buffoonery, Sam Flannel.
Book it that I'm going to be enjoying lunch that day.
Meat riding Aaron Rodgers all year long. 100%. Here we go. Pat, I guess he's got to have a young guy in Pat Mahomes and an old guy in Aaron Rodgers. I don't blame you there, Sam. Meat riders unite.
That can't be the case. You really said that?
JV? I like that.
Alex Merrill says, perfect. Sam's in the dark as he should be. Bozo.
There it is.
All right, so there it is. Kayla says, would have been nice to see Miggy one last time in the home run derby. Kayla, Miggy's not at a point right now.
Miggy's got one home run, bud. And he's one home run. I still think Sam owes his coffee for that. I know he didn't bet it, but I just think any Miggy home run, Sam should come in with coffee and go, hey, congratulations, guys.
Yes. Tim France says, willing to bet one of your furnaces? I would bet all the furnaces on that. That's not happening.
All 6.
I can't believe you said that, Flannel. At the expense of who? Give me the path real quick. Give me the path. So they're going to win the division?
Yes, I've said that for a long time. Yes, I've said they're going to win the division. Then they're going to win a home playoff game.
So Aaron Rodgers at 40 will roll into New York, not only up in the Miami Dolphins, but also up in the Buffalo Bills and win that division.
I mean, I always say the New York Jets were competitive for a lot of the year with Mike White, Zach Wilson, and Joe Flacco's corpse. Mm-hmm. I think.
You mean guys that actually did have 300-yard passing games last year?
Oh, are you
unlike Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, you're comparing Zach Wilson, Mike White, and Joe Flacco.
I'm saying they have that they have that ability.
Okay, but did they throw 26 touchdowns, 12 picks? I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers didn't have a down year. I'm just saying that he's going to have a resurgent year with a better roster in New York. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, all that. And
Breece Hall, that's another one. I always hear about him.
He was hurt.
Weird.
Okay, he got hurt. He was good when he was healthy.
I know. That's the streets are littered with those tales.
Okay, fine.
When he was healthy, he was good.
All right, well,
I hear about that all the time.
We'll see next year.
We are. Man, I can't wait. You know what? I gotta find. I'm gonna have to dual TV it this football season, DMac.
I like it.
I cannot wait for Aaron Rodgers to collapse.
Stop it.
And torpedo that franchise. I cannot wait for it.
That's just hate. You're just a hater.
No, just a realist. You know, we're in the day and age, Sam Flannel. You got to be able to put some yards up on the board. You have to. not one 300-yard passing game. Dude is washed. And we'll see.
All right, fine. We'll see.
We are going to see. Just like you'll see every time you go into Planet Fitness. Best gym in the gym game. You know, I talk about the one I go to in Troy that's by the studios over at Woodward. We're here in Novi, Feldman Chevrolet, right? Oh, there's a Planet Fitness right around the corner over there, like a mile and a half from there. Doesn't matter. Wherever I go, there's always a Planet Fitness close by. There's over 2,400 of them in the world. There's over 50 of them in the Metro Detroit area alone. And with a black card at $24.99 a month, you get access to them all. That's the way it works. Scan your card, walk in any Planet Fitness. Facilities are clean. There's ample treadmills, all kinds of weights. Everything you need to do, you can get done at Planet Fitness. Go to planetfitness.com. You can join there. Pull in the parking lot. You'll pass a couple on the way home. Some of you are paying $50, $60, $70, $80 a month. One dude told me he's paying $100 a month for his gym. Hey, cool rock wall. You don't need a rock wall. You need to go in and get the work done. Planet Fitness, that's where it is at. PlanetFitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, Darren McCarty.
Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. We are live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevrolet dealer. Was talking with the sales folks here. Fresh shipment of Chevy Blazers are in. They've been tough to get. Not here at Feldman. So if you're in that market, roll on through here. You want something else, they can help you with that as well. Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty, we are back in effect. Sam Flannel, JB Smoove. We got our guy Alex out here as well. And happy to have everybody with us. WoodwardSports.com chat thread. All right, Alex DeBrincat, DMac. I don't want to say we broke the news. I'm not Pierre LeBrun or any of these guys like that. However, we did talk about the fact that this was far from dead. That when you look at the financials, you look at the cap structure of teams in the league, there was a very segmented market that was in the Alex DeBrincat running. But the moral of the story, he is here right now, the player, DMac. You know, I've been very fond of him. You and I have talked about him for a very long time, as a matter of fact. The player, Alex DeBrincat, what's he bringing to the party, DMac? Analyze the game.
Goals. First and foremost.
You heard it here first,
First
folks.
and foremost, goals. Pucks in the net, something that needed to be addressed.
What makes him, especially
he's a
at his
natural goal
size?
scorer, right? You listen to anybody talk about him, what he's proven from his days, even back into, you know, being a goal scorer in Erie and junior, you know, being a local kid going to Chicago, being able to, you know, light the lamp there, show everybody that size isn't everything. He can play in this new NHL. He's a smart player, but what he brings is there might be, you know, a dozen guys that are absolutely natural goal scorers where the puck follows them around, where they just know how to find the back of the net. But with Alex DeBrincat, too, he's much more than that. You know, a lot of times you just get, you know, with a goal scorer, it's more one-dimensional or more offensively. But what the one thing, and I think is very poignant out of a lot of things that Steve Yzerman said in his press conference, is the fact that he makes guys around him better. He's a playmaker. It's not just a scorer. So when you look at this, and I look at this trade, and I said to you, or this signing trade, whatever like this, first of all, did you play my clip yesterday or no?
Yes.
So, right, I give everybody a break. Oh, that was your pass. Okay? From now on, you don't get a pass. I'm not going to be nice anymore because you can do it two ways. You can continue to be the type of fan Because if it's in your fandom to bitch and moan and to whine and cry and not understand what's happening here, then do it, and we'll ignore you. But if you want to take the easier way and understand that the man in charge, the hashtag WiserPlan1919 is what I've said all along, right? What have I been consistent with? I tried to read the tea leaves, right? I was wrong. I thought we wouldn't use all these draft picks, but then we make the trade. But I knew that he was going to make this team better. And I knew this is what he wanted. And at the end of the day, Steve Yzerman has a plan, and he doesn't go away from it. So if I look at this right now, what does Alex DeBrincat immediately bring? Because I'm just going to put him in on the first line with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond, right? You paid a little bit more, right? But pretty much you traded Bertuzzi for DeBrincat, right, on that first line, and you got better. As much as I love Tyler Bertuzzi and moving on, this helps more to the team, because what did Steve Yzerman do? He insulated the rest of the team, especially in free agency, by a guy like JT Compher, Sprong, with the grit that Bertuzzi provided, right? Now you got the goals and natural goal scoring. And when you hear guys like Steve Yzerman or every general manager around the league who covets goals, it's a natural thing, right? So now it's just, and I got to think there's a couple things that play to me. Yes, kid who grew up a Wings fan. I'm the same way. Larkin was the same way. There is some juice to that. Mm-hmm. He bet on himself. The 4-year deal and at under $8 million a year, that's, to me, that's a guy going, okay, I'm going to get compensated, but if I prove it, then I'll definitely be that $10, $11 million player. What I think Alex DeBrincat is looking is that in the 4-year plan is to win a cup here, right? And so if I look at it in the big picture, what did you just do? You just added your Brendan Shanahan, right? You just traded. If I do the analogies back to
today's day and age,
Brendan Shanahan, where it's not about the power forward mode, but it's about the goals, and it's about being that goal. And yes, this is probably this is our first 40-goal guy since Marian Hossa back in like 2009. But the fact is that this guy could score 50 goals. And that's priceless, Neil. In this NHL to have that. So what I love about him is the fact that he loves to compete. Him and Larkin are buddies. They're working out, golfing now and stuff like this. It all adds in. And I like what he brings into the locker room, right? It's not a guy that you have to caveat to. He's not a prima donna. He's a guy that's going to come to work. And all those prerequisites had to have before Steve Yzerman pulled the trigger.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread, FJ1967. Morning, Big D Energy and chat back from vacay. Welcome back, FJ1967. Good to have you back. DMac and I are back here in effect as well. And there are some contract details, LFG, Neal, ahead of the curve around another big story. And look, I don't talk, I don't text Steve Yzerman or anything like that. It's just when you do this for a living, I feel like there's a maintenance to it.
Just pay attention.
You know what I'm saying?
No, dude, listen, any one of yous out there, if you paid attention, could see this coming.
Right.
And what the writing on the wall, listen to what Stevie said. Go back to the press conference of everything. He answers every question that you need to have. The bottom line is this is his team putting it together, right? And that's why Steve Yzerman is running this organization. When you get frustrated or don't understand, just sit back and wait. Because it will play out. You're not doing anything, right?
No, I'm just looking at numbers on paper.
Algebra, geometry,
no, because I was awful at that. No, I was awful at that.
No, this is just
street math. This is street math.
This is street. This is just watch, listen, and see what it is. So, is this team better today and ready? So legitimately, I think what it is, Neil, is that when we say I've taken the clock off and I say this is a playoff team. Right, that this year it's playoffs or else there's questions to be answered. This puts them in that conversation.
Right. Rax says Neal doesn't text Stevie Y. He just walks next door and talks to him. Now we'll have to arrange that. Stevie Y and I'll have to have a drink together. Maybe talk cap and stuff like that. But yeah. So and there are some things too. We'll talk about contractually as far as DeBrincat's deal goes. We'll probably do that the next segment, DMac, because there are some caveats because you got questions.
That's the beauty.
Yeah.
Like the first thing was we said this all along, right? The offer's been made. You're going to sit and wait to see what happened. And when the contract had come out under $8 million for 4 years, and players, we lost Kubalik, and Sabrango is a great young prospect, but there's caveats in there to what Steve Yzerman did, and it didn't forego him making any other moves. At the end of his press conference yesterday, right, and he was asked, are you done making moves for the big moves for the season or whatever? And he said, today. But I'm in the position that I won't say no to anything if it makes sense for the team. But I'm not spending money just to spend money.
Right.
Like where I guess that's the most frustrating thing is just listening to people is just go get this and go spend that and go, why? If it doesn't get you to where you want to be.
No, and the thing too, and you and I talked about this as well through all this negotiations that was going on and the DeBrincat watch that we all endured. Tell me the 40-plus goal scorer that moved in the intermediary during all that time. You know what I'm saying? Tell me the big-time goal scorer that's been out there on the market that another team went and got while the Red Wings sat there and twiddled their thumbs. While Steve Yzerman said, none. There were none. There were none to be had. DeBrincat was the only one out there.
Yeah, and you nailed it down, whereas when the move wasn't made throughout and the time goes down and then it was down to Jack Harrington's New York Islanders, right, and the Red Wings, and we looked into the bag and went, Islanders can't do that. They got no, they got no bag, but Stevie can, and we just wait and see.
And that's what that DMac in retrospect. That's when I knew this whole thing was a wrap.
Yeah.
When they said when insiders like national Canadian insiders like big time guys were like, this is down to the Red Wings and the Islanders, and I told you that. Yeah. Hey, this is a wrap. It's happening. Like they're going to go get him. And that is the way that it went down. But from the hockey perspective, DMac, we talk about goal scorers, right? The puck finds a stick, and he finds the back of the net, and he's just able to score goals. If you look at it, too, I've heard this buzzword thrown around with DeBrincat, is he plays with a toughness, which you have to at that size. DMac, for the size crowd, for the people that are worried about he's too small. Because remember when we talked about this, even in the middle of the season, where I said, hey, this could be one of the potential moves that are out there. Remember, I got blown up. We don't need another small guy. We're already physically taken advantage of in games. And what was my response to that, DMac? Well, then go get you somebody that when they take a penalty, you make them pay.
Absolutely.
And that stops right quick. But DMac, why does it work for him? Because he has to be tough to be that size and proven, be a 40-goal scorer.
But he's already proven. It's not like we're drafting this guy or it's the next second coming or he's coming from anywhere. Why do you think he was passed over in the first round in his draft and didn't go? Every team had an opportunity because the question was he big enough? And what has gone on? The game has evolved into a smaller person game with more speed and stuff like this. I think that he plays plenty big enough. He plays definitely bigger than his size. It's sort of like, Chris Draper, who's like, Chris Draper will tell you he's 6 foot tall, but he's not even but a 5'10", but he plays over 6 feet tall. It's having that attitude. And scoring goals is that attitude, right? Teams want to try to bully you around. You can hammer them on the power play. That was our bread and butter back in the day. So there's different ways to do it. You got to evolve with the game, but definitely he's proven to everybody that he's a player. There's a lot of smaller guys around the league like that who've had that, the Johnny Gaudreaus and stuff like this who have proven that they can play, the Jack Hugheses and stuff. So, again, the game's evolved. It's not 30 years ago.
Real quick, before we cut to the break, WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Rad Dad Scott says, we would be absolutely insane with Kyle Connor on the roster. And Rad Dad, again, this doesn't come from like a place of knowledge or anybody I've talked to or things like that. When you have that kind of talent like Winnipeg does, and last season certainly was a disappointment for them, no question about it, you're not just going to disassemble that in an offseason. You're going to give it every opportunity. DMac, they're going to run it back with everybody at Winnipeg.
Well, you always think that until the coach comes out and absolutely fish fries the whole your whole leadership base. So that leaves a bad taste, and that's when egos come in. So I don't know if, they might want to run it back, but
they're going to give it a spin
done?
and see. And
as it goes on, and what usually happens when the spin goes on and the threads start to go out and everything starts to fall apart, that's when deals are made. So that I love Kyle Connors. I think he would fit in. He would be a great once a year, but that might be something during the season that happens.
And
right?
that's my feel.
That's sort of the next step. Hey, what if the Red Wings get off to a good start, a great start, stuff like this? Winnipeg doesn't. Then they're looking, because that's when you run it back like this on the last treads. Usually, if it's not going to work, it's dismantled during the season.
And that's the way it'll work, because they have talent. So you're going to give that one final spin to try to. It's a Hail Mary. Yes, it's
also
a Hail
Mary, but it's also a showcase.
And it is a showcase. It's all of that.
Because
again, DMac, what have we learned about this? Humans make deals. Leverage makes deals. Deadlines make deals. That's the way that this works. You need suitors. When you have two teams, the marketplace is limited. When there are many, the return is better.
Well, it's funny because you say when deadlines make deals. There's so many things. How many times do you see this now? And I guess maybe we witness this in basketball and in hockey and free agency and stuff like that, where restricted free agents and the teams and them can't make a deal, and then they're going to go to arbitration, and all of a sudden before arbitration the deal gets done.
Yeah.
In like a day or two.
Deadlines
what has
make
changed?
Deals, man.
The only thing that's changed is the deadline.
The deadline, that is it. All right, we're late for a break. When we come back, I do want to kick around the lines with DMac. I'll just pepper him with a couple more questions. He's got a couple financials for me. We'll certainly talk about the Isaiah Stewart thing as well. What's going on in Northwestern? We're going to bring that up as well, as much as I don't want to, but, that's
Sam
that's where we
Flannel,
are.
Scott Frosted, another guy.
Yeah,
Looks
he
like
did.
Fitzy. He got Fitzy, too.
Yeah, Sam Flannel, man.
Well, I think the circumstances surrounding Pat
Had a
Fitzgerald
little
are
more to do with that.
Yeah.
That's fair. I won't do that one too. We'll be right back. We're live at Feldman Chevrolet. It's Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper.
Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty. We have Sam Flannel in the house. JB Smoove is out on site. Alex here. Also, we're live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. They are Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer. That is fact, not opinion. Fresh shipment of Chevy Blazers here in the house. They've been tough to get. Not here. If you're in the market for a Chevy Blazer, come on through here. They can get you set up too. If you're more Lindsey Hunter, you're in the market for a Corvette, they can help you with that also. But we are chopping it up here. We're talking Alex DeBrincat. We have DMac here. I'm here. And we're getting into the more nuanced discussions, right? If you want that general entertainment info stuff, you know where to get that stuff. But I have concrete questions for DMac. But, it's funny, DMac, you brought this to my attention. We've talked about Steve Yzerman, and, I know that the non-hockey media, new hockey media in this town, Stevie Y put the ski mask on. There was an element to that with this trade because JB Smoove, you know this, right? People go to the trade machines. That's everyone's favorite pastime. Go to the trade machines. And JB Smoove pulled this one up here, where if you look at this deal, DMac, even the trade machine says no.
Well, it's not even just a trade machine. This is in the video game on the easy trade mode.
Easy
the one
trade
that I
mode.
say, go on to the video game. So somebody actually did it, and JB's got it there. And Austin, unofficial, he said, bro, I have the trades on easy and to get this through, and it's still being rejected. So the Kubalik, Sabrango, option of the 2 first-round picks.
Right.
For Alex DeBrincat, and even the money was a little bit higher there. But I just thought that, it goes into there's a reason that there's a ski mask. And I guess I made the correlation to you earlier is that when I was looking at the deal, because I always talk to you about anything to do with the salary cap or the draft or whatever, and I went, wait a sec. Having the option of which first rounder to give somebody in your division, depending on where you go, is sort of like at the end of the deal, Steve Yzerman going, if you were here at Feldman, going, hey, you know what, for the next year, throw in the oil change and the tire rotation, to make sure you do it.
Yeah.
It's just like on the way out, that just little
something
extra.
and you can get it if you really they're not going to say no.
You know that it's not something that somebody's going to die on the hill. It's like they're going to throw it in. Right. You know that it's a throw in. So I leaned to you and said, Neal, am I on base with this? That when you control what you have to give away, so that doesn't deter in how well you play, right? So you go win the cup and you have the last pick, right? You give them that pick and keep the other one.
Right, and there's a top 10 protection for Boston in there, but they won the President's Trophy last year. Like they're not going to have the 9th worst record in hockey. You know what I'm saying? They're too good, obviously.
Well,
so but you're right though, DMac. Again, what have I said since the day you and I took the air here about not just Yzerman, with Brad Holmes, GMs in general? The GM game has changed, especially at a rapid pace over the last 5 years because finances dictate it. I'm not some savant. Like I don't have this magic 8 ball. I don't text Brad Holmes or Steve Yzerman. I look at the salary cap sheets. That's it. I look at available cap space. That gives you a rough idea of what's going to happen. So what's the biggest key if you're a GM? To stay financially flexible. Draft capital, flexible. That's all he's doing with that little option, lease with an option to buy on that first round pick. That's all that is. Another way to stay flexible.
Well, it's the caveat, too, is that, when you see Philip Zadina walking away and you're able to pick up 1.8 on your salary cap to go spend it somewhere else.
What's Zadina thinking, by the way?
No, he's betting on himself. Young guy, just turning
but
back
he's betting
money.
$4 million on himself.
I
man.
get it. Whether it's it gets a lucrative deal. I mean,
if it's like $750,000, okay, man. But that's like $4 million.
So he feels that he's betting on himself, and you know what? He's betting on his career and stuff like that. And I hope it works out. Good for him. The opportunity, the pros and the cons, man. He looked at it like walking away from this marriage, right? And giving away all this money and all the whatever was worth him getting a new start. And I think that a lot of people out there can relate to that.
But $4 million, man, it's aggressive. Can we agree it's aggressive?
I get it, but it's not aggressive if he can go out and reach the potential that he believes. Now, the only reason he can do that is because he believes in himself, right?
No question. I don't hate him for that.
It's not trust me, this probably wasn't his agent telling him the best advice to people around him.
I know,
but I do respect it.
Yeah.
As Stevie said, we do respect it.
I do respect it, but I can still question and go, what are you doing, man? Like, because if it doesn't work out here, you're never going to see $4 to $5 million. Like, it's not going to happen. A $4 to $5 million
but it
contract.
could work out somewhere else where you go on a 1-year deal and you look at, he's trying to do sort of the rejuvenation what like a Max Domi did, on that level, and maybe change the scenery. Because the one thing's for sure is he doesn't want to play in Grand Rapids.
Right.
So the object is, and as Stevie said, I'd rather have 1.8 to work with than have to pay 1.8 on somebody in Grand Rapids. So it's a win-win for everybody. So
no, it is. And the line, DMac, where does he fit? How do you see this going on? Is that because for me, the biggest thing. This is a dude with over 50 power play goals.
Oh, well, dude, he's your right-handed trigger man on the power play. And more so in that right-hand shooter spot where Perron is. The beauty about Perron is either you move him to the second unit or you can even play point on the power play. Also, too, right-handed shots on the power play are a caveat. So you got Sider, who's quarterbacking it from the back end, right? Whether you're going to use Goss's Sphere, who's a power play guru, which is the left, you'd think that those two would handle the back end. But you got DeBrincat on that sidewall shooter, right? Shooter. So, he's, you got to count him for 15 power play goals, right? Like at least minimum,
right?
At minimum for him to score like 40 goals. But
if that puts Perron on the second power play line, the entire power play discussion is different.
It is, and here's what it is. So you have two, and almost when you have 2-1 power plays, like we back in the day, we had so much talent. It's a challenge. So yeah, you may be the number one, but if you're not doing it, you're off the ice, right? You got
right.
2 units, so whatever unit, and how many times do we see it? Some nights, the number one unit just isn't, hitting posts, getting puck luck. You got to put the other one out there, and I think that it'll be interesting. Not only line combinations, but the power play combinations, because Derek Lalonde's got a lot to work with, and Alex Tanguay too. Alex Tanguay, this is where he's going to cook, because he's that offensive power play mind. I played with him in Calgary, and he thinks on that other level and try to score goals. And obviously DeBrincat coming in, goal scorers, Neal, they just see the net differently. They know where the holes is, so it's just more or less getting him the puck where he wants it, and he'll make the magic happen.
No question. So we've talked about that, with the lines. When we come back, one more segment. DMac has a couple of financial questions. I'll explain it. I've got a couple of those questions on Twitter as well. I'll explain it to the best of what my understanding is. WoodwardSports.com chat thread real quick before we cut to the break. And people are saying, David Gettleman says Boston has a chance to cave, Neal. Guys, they're not going to the point where they're going to have one of the 10 worst records in hockey. Could they fall off a little? Are they getting older? Yes, they are. They're not finished. Like, remember, look around at the Red Wings in Ottawa and teams that picked around that range. They're not going to tumble to that.
Yeah, even if you look at Boston, obviously you got to start looking at, right, if Detroit's going to find its way into the playoffs, who's not going to make it there? Is Boston going to suffer enough where they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot? Possibly, but still, to your point, their win total will put them, even at, what's the worst, 2/3 in the league? You're just not going to fall from grace that hard. I don't believe.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. LFG says, what does Zadina have against Grand Rapids? I think it's more what it signifies. Like, that's what it is.
And I think that because, like, last year he's done that. And to his argument, last year was injury filled. So, you know what? He's looking for the fresh start, maybe somewhere else.
Sports marketing agency that helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their podcast called This Is the S Word helps address the stigma associated with seeking help. If you're struggling, or some is struggling, go to thesportsma.com. Thesportsma.com, the sports marketing agency. They're here to help.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Neal Ruhl here for 5 Iron Golf. Play, practice, and party at 5 Iron Golf coming this July to Detroit, located inside the Cambria Hotel. Downtown's newest sports bars, 13 TrackMan simulators, certified instructors, a full bar, and a full restaurant. Mention promo code Woodward. Get 50% off at checkout on your first visit. Visit 5irongolf.com to tee up the good times. Again, mention Woodward at checkout. You'll get 50% off. Give the place a spin. It's awesome. Tons of fun. That's 5irongolf.com. Get to 5-Iron Golf. Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. We're live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevrolet dealer. Fresh shipment of Chevy Blazers here in the house. They've been tough to get, so if you've been in the market for one, now is the time to make your way to Novi and Feldman Chevrolet. Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, JB Smoove. We have Alex out here as well, finishing up this Alex DeBrincat discussion. DMac, a couple of the questions I've gotten. The roster, the lines. Give me the 30,000 foot. What do you got on this, DMac? How do you see? Because I think we're done for like seismic moves. How do you see this shaking out?
Yeah, and I think that, the one thing is that whether we think we're done or not, like Steve Eisman said, he's still got $8 or $9 million in the bank if something comes up. But it doesn't look like he'll be messing around with the roster much more until the season goes on, and maybe there's some guys to be traded. But you got to look. Like I mentioned it before, I'm going to throw DeBrincat right in there on the top line with Raymond and Larkin, right? Give Dylan, a perennial goal scorer. We saw, him elevate his game. And yes, I know, right? Remember, guys, that's Dylan Larkin being your 1C, so we're not there yet, but he can do it. Point-a-game guy last year. I think Larkin and DeBrincat will have some really good chemistry, right, together. So, so I look at and the big thing is, can they get Lucas Raymond back more to form, right? There's the guy, but I believe Raymond's going to get that opportunity. Another guy who's going to get an opportunity now. JT Compher is going to be your number 2 guy. David Perron probably going to work the left side, even the right shot, but Johnny Burgers. I think Johnny Burgers, that's Spenny's guy. I think that they're going to give him every opportunity to sort of get into the Kubalik role, right? To be that, left-handed shot, power play guy, a guy that you're looking to get 20, 25 goals. And I'm going to have my eye on him because I really think he's got something there to develop, which that leaves Andrew Kopp, Robbie Fabry, God willing that he's healthy and comes back. And then we add Dylan Sprong, who's a big size guy. And it's something that a lot of people aren't too familiar with him, but he's going to add some size and some physicality to the third line, which leads, right, we don't forget, we got Michael Rasmussen, Joe Valeno. I'm going to put Rasmussen on the wing with Valeno and Costin. Again, size, stuff like this. What does that leave out? That leaves like Marco Kasper's going to be fighting for a job, Elmer Soderblom, Fisher, then you got Jarnik, you got Luft, you got guys. So, that last, the rotation and the bottom guys in and out of the lineup, I think that.
But there's upside with those guys. And that's what intrigues me with that is those names that you say, like the heralded prospects, they're going to come in and battle for jobs. There's upside, high upside to those guys.
Absolutely.
So in an ideal world, you want them to force your hand and say, we have to go with a Kasper.
So you want to see guys do what Soderblom did last year at a training camp and force his way in the lineup, what Lucas Raymond did, previous, just like most sides, making Steve Eisman, Derek Lalonde, can't take him out of the lineup. Too valuable. I look at Marco Kasper from what I hear is to be, sort of that guy that's just going to be undeniable to be gone. So and with that, obviously on defense, Wallman and the Sider, you had a Justin Hall, you had a Shane Goss-Spear, and then you got Ali Mata and Sherratt with Edvidson and Lidstrom too. You got size, you got guys, you got some puck moving guys. You had a Goss-Spear who power play guy, like legitimate power play guy. That's gonna that's going to add that left-handed shot and playmaking ability. So when I look at this lineup, the big thing is the big improvement should be on the power play right there. And also, too, what Steve Yzerman said, keeping the puck out of the net, right? Defensive scheme and stuff like this. So
because we forget, man, those breakdowns, when those wave of breakdowns happened last year, and it came in waves during games. Boom, boom, boom. Games tilted. Even if they were winning, now they're down 2. It's a wrap. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
That's what I'm looking for.
And does this make sense, Neal? I look to this team to develop and want to become more of that shut-down team, low scoring, and then use the power play as the weapon. That's what all top teams do, right? They got teams coming in going, we can't take dumb penalties against these guys because they'll make us play. And then when their focus point is keeping the puck out of the net, and Steve Yzerman said it, when you tend to keep the puck out of the net, it tends to work out the other way.
Dog Pound says, Neal, I want to go get Austin Matthews now. Okay. Austin Matthews in the last year of his deal at $7.9 million this year. If you want to have those discussions, Dog Pound, if you want to call me and I'm Toronto's GM, your baseline is Mo Seider to start, because you're getting Austin Matthews in a still controllable year at under $8 million. Like, again, this isn't the time for that right now. You gotta let Toronto's season play out, because number 2, they're gonna go make a run still. They believe that they can still get through this ceiling.
Well, look at the guys that they've added.
Right. They believe that they can still make a run. They're not in the market to trade Austin. Easy, everybody. If Steve Yzerman's shown you anything, life is about timing.
Yes.
That's what you strike. You strike when the
it's not time to
do that right now.
Dinner table yet.
No, it's not. The conditions are not in your favor. DMac, you had a couple of financial questions about DeBrincat's contract.
Well, and that's the thing. Where that's the first thing is because weren't we talking about all the time about, is he going to be, what's the number going to be? And I thought maybe you'd have to pay him $9 million.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you paid him less than $8 million over a 4-year, and the big thing is Steve Yzerman came out that the negotiation was 4 or 5 year term, and they both agreed on 4. Right? This is like one of I go into the conversation that was had, and it's, we believe in you, but you have to bet on yourself, because we're not in a position. I need to build this team. I need flexibility. I need flexibility, right? That I'm not gonna lay all my eggs into your basket. If you want to be this is a conversation. If you want to be a part of what we're building with the guys that we're building, this is where I'm at right now. Now, I know the conversations, you go out and prove to me and give 40 days, I'll pay you. You know what? Like that next one, you got to sort of earn it. And I think that, was there a hometown discount?
I don't think so.
I think that it just was the perfect storm. But did he fall? But didn't?
And there's more factors.
Am I wrong? I guess the question is that I look at it that we got a deal. Like, that's a good deal, right? 4 years to a 40-goal guy for under.
There were concessions on both sides, even through all that, DMac. And I broke it down a little bit on the show yesterday, but just to kind of reiterate it with you, DeBrincat's got a no-trade clause in the deal. That costs you a couple bucks if you're Alex DeBrincat. The stability, him being in control, is worth more than an extra $700,000 a year to him. That's the way that it operates for him. You talked about him betting on himself. I think there's an element of that to it. But I also think that if you look at the financial structure of the NHL, the salary cap, as far as the cap going up, that money was escrowed during the whole COVID times. They're ready to release that now. The total cap of the NHL is going to go up at a pretty big clip coming up over the next couple years.
That's a great point, right? Because what did Steve Yzerman say before the deal was even done? What did we do? We sat down and we did our view of what the salary cap will be in a year and in 2 years, and it's going up, and I don't want to put myself in a position to spend money against it until then. One of the other things that he said in his press conference is we're not financially strapped because of finances. We're strapped because of the cap.
Right.
Right? That's that's old Illich. That's not, you know, it automatically got me thinking is that, well, that's not the way it is with the Tigers, but it is that way with the Red Wings
NHL,
to
right.
understand that. So, but I like that. You're bringing in a top guy that.
But I'm speaking from DeBrincat's side with this. Because as that cap juices, if you're coming off of
he's going to get more money.
He's going to get more money in the end.
I'm speaking for Stevie to tell.
And I'm speaking to DeBrincat's side.
But Stevie's saying there's no hidden thing that hey, don't tell DeBrincat's agent or whatever the cap's going up.
Right.
No, Stevie says, hey, the cap's going up. At this point, when the cap goes up and you bring us that and you score me 40 goals, I'll give you $10 million.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be able to give you $10 million. What I'm saying is he'll pay,
or he'll be in a position
job.
to go get 12 from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like for DeBrincat, that opens up the doors for him.
But it also to other places. But he's going to get paid, and Alex has got to see it. So it's a win-win. And Steve Yzerman didn't fall. Oh, this is a lucky happenstance. This was all in the plan.
Doubt. On both sides.
Yeah, good. That's why it worked out the perfect storm here in Detroit, correct?
Right, absolutely. So, you know, as the cap goes up, his earning power will go up, especially if he has a good run, as Spenny added. If he's a 3-time 40-goal scorer and a Stanley Cup champion, price goes up.
Oh, you think?
The price goes up,
right?
And he makes more in the long run.
If we've won a Stanley Cup with him or whatever, and we've seen this in the past, that guys go move on.
Yeah, like the whole hometown discount, I know that fits a narrative and it's fun to talk about and stuff like that, but it is still a business, like even for Alex DeBrincat. And for me, if it were me, control's important to him. The no-trade clause is important to him.
And when you're telling me that control per year is worth, what, $700
grand, you know, whatever that number works out to be. So to him it is.
And that works, and to Steve Yzerman it is too.
And it works. That again, you talked about like the perfect storm. What people wanted out of this lined up. What Yzerman wanted, what DeBrincat wanted, what Yzerman wanted. Everything kind of lined up. And the Red Wings were the only ball game in town that could do it from a cap perspective. Everything fit.
And here's the thing, Stevie knew that, and he didn't rush to it. And he played what do I tell you? We don't know his cards, but he just waited and he waited. World Series of Poker going on right now. And he just, to me, is that he just waited, showed his hand, and, you know, you had the ace-high flush and he had the straight flush. That sucks.
Sorry about it. You want a royal flush and a haircut. Lady Jane's, that's the move for that.
Absolutely. And you can walk in any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not one but two vehicles from West Stanford GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, one for you and one for your wife, girlfriend, or best bud. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit. But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. We're live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer. You can go look it up if you want, or you can just believe me when I tell you, because those are the facts. Brand new shipment of Chevy Blazers here in the house. They've been tough to get. Not for you. All you got to do is roll on up to Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you when you come in here, though. Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty here in the house. Sam Flannel, JB Smoove. We got Alex. Shout out Sandy, too, and Crystal for coming out here and partaking in the show live. But we are wrapping up this Alex DeBrincat discussion. Brandon Katz. That's a bad take by Neal. DeBrincat was willing to take less money because he wanted to get the F out of Ottawa and didn't have any options. Brandon, yes, he did have an option because his extension, he's still playing this year under his original contract that he would have had in Ottawa. So what he could have done is, just play the year in Ottawa for the same money and then been an unrestricted free agent. You ever think about that? He's still working under the same construct of the deal. And if you're saying like he took less than market, which there are some, as we've been talking about, some factors that went into that as far as the why goes, if that was important to him, if he wanted to get paid, he just could have played out for the same money that he's going to here in Detroit. Am I crazy with that? The contract's the same.
No, you're absolutely not crazy. The one thing is that if the cat spot did impregnate Mike G's karaoke machine, take care of your responsibilities, bro, and we'll worry about the DeBrincat. But yeah, that's a point people don't understand.
No,
the extension. He's still playing on his old contract
for this year,
which is another score.
Right. So there's that. Because technically, too, there is not a no trade on this year of the deal. The no trade doesn't kick in till the following year.
Wow.
So, things were that's what was important to him. Control. And sports are full of that. Life is full of that. There are a good segment of people that will forego money for control.
We just talked about what Philip Zadina did. Right? And that's not even at this on the level, but that's keeping the power.
No, it is. Real quick, another question people ask me. Rad Dad Scott asked me about Leon and Raymer, the signings. Is that a gain, a neutral as far as the goaltending situation?
Alex Lyon and James Reimer?
Yeah, so.
I know that listen, what do I tell you about goaltenders? Stevie hates them the most, right? Like, it's the hardest. But I think, from what I'm hearing is they're really high on Alex Lyon.
And look, that was a one-year deal.
Listen, this is a prove a year for Husso, right?
Yes.
What did we say? Last year was his first sort of, can he take the brunt? You also got to remember is that what I think the long plan is, and I don't think that the saviors are Alex Lyon, James Reimer, or even Ville Husso. I think it's Sebastian Cossa coming down the pipe. But and that's not this year. That's in the next. It plays
and that's
out.
My answer to the question.
Here's my clock, right? This year they're going to make the playoffs. Costa's going to be down and play the full season in Grand Rapids to get that tenure to whatever. Then the next year, building him to start the season in 2 years. That gives him 2-3 years. We win a cup.
And Husso, Husso was good last year. He was fine.
What I saw with Ville Husso is that learning how to be an everyday 50, 60 game guy, right? Because he didn't have in the past. So when did Husso struggle? When he looked tired, when he got tired. So the one thing about James Reimer especially is he's been around. He's a true consummate professional. So I don't think that, not in the least in goaltending, you haven't gotten worse. If anything, you've gotten a little bit better.
Yeah, and for me, as far as big picture goes, I would lean more towards the neutral, just based on the contracts that they signed, because I think grand scheme, like, guys, you don't just get to DeBrincat and boom, you're in there. The franchise is set and away we go. There are still elements that you have to add to this.
You're still a couple players
away. Yeah, they are. And I do want to get out in front of that.
But you know exactly what you're going to know exactly what it is you need.
Absolutely. And that's what it is, DMac, because it to me, it's just a net neutral. It was kind of a punt on this year. As far, you have to have one or two, like you have to. That's just what it tells me. Again, reading the tea leaves, as people like to say. They want Cossa to force the option, right?
Absolutely.
When he plays down there this year, if he gets on a heater, you could see him this year. If he gets on a heater,
right? Exactly. I think that they're smart. And Stevie's smart and whatever else to develop him. I love Sebastian Cossa as a kid. He doesn't lack confidence, which I like, and it's sort of just developing and getting in the system. And I think that he's accepted, the path of what they have for him, and it's not a rush path. But when the team's ready and when Steve's got everything ready, if you're just plugging in that goaltender and he's a guy you believe can get it done, that's what you got to do.
No question about it. So we will see how that all shakes out as far as the Red Wings are concerned. But you see it, and I do want to get out in front of that because this isn't DeBrincat's here. You're not going to go to the conference finals necessarily next year, everybody. It's a piece. It's an important piece.
Hey, can we just make the playoffs? That gets us closer to the playoffs, doesn't it?
It does.
Right? You're adding, so you subtract, you're adding 20 goals, plus 20 goals to your lineup. Hopefully on the power play, hopefully he's going to win some of these close games, let alone you got a shooter for your shootouts. That's a big thing too. So, yeah, playoffs. I mean, this sort of solidifies and puts a stamp on we have to make playoffs next year, or I will be like, what's going on? For lack of understanding that half the lineup's out.
Right. Real quickly, we are going to get into the Isaiah Stewart thing. We do have some Lion stuff too. Don't worry, everybody. We're going to get there. We will talk some football. It's getting to be that time, right? You get to past July 4th. Couple weeks away from training camps getting going and everything like that. The story did break a little while ago. Pat Fitzgerald fired as the head coach of Northwestern. Allegations of hazing and everything that's been going on with that program. And look, Fitzgerald lived in a nice little bubble there in Northwestern
for years,
to the point where he could have a 1-11 season. Everyone's like, oh well, it's Northwestern, man.
Like math geniuses.
It does. Look, the bottom line through all this, DMac, is does this seem to go on at a lot of places? It seems that it still does. For whatever reason, it still does. The moral of the story for me, when you're a football coach and you're coming off a 1-11 season, you can't have this stuff going on, man. You really can't have it going on, period. But especially when you're 1-11, like it is, DMac. Like that's just the way that it is. It makes it much more easy for administration to say, "Wow, all this stuff's going on, and you're 1-11.
Well,
goodbye."
2023 too,
right,
so
man.
It's all coming out. Right, it's all coming out, and whatever reason, and yes, to your point, unfortunately, right, the worse the record, right, the more spotlight on the disparaging things in your program.
It's flannel. It's a tale as old as time, man.
Yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned, obviously, the hazing allegations and all that. If that went on, that's awful. He deserved to be fired, but Pat Fitzgerald kind of became like Teflon. Every time Northwestern did anything, it was like, oh my God, Pat Fitzgerald is doing this at Northwestern. But when in the last 4 seasons they had 3 or less wins 9 times, or three times, including last season 1-11, it's like, oh, it's just Northwestern. What can you expect Pat Fitzgerald to do? He was untouchable.
He got a free pass. He got more of a free pass than Harbaugh did.
Oh, at least Harbaugh. I mean, hey. Harbaugh has written the ship. That's for sure. But he did have some disappointing seasons his first 5. But Pat Fitzgerald, man, the Pat Fitzgerald honeymoon had ended with me about 3 or 4 years ago.
And this guy was always up for like the Bears job and NFL jobs and stuff like that. I'm like, does anybody notice? Like, they suck.
Yeah. It's like, oh, if Michigan just had Pat Fitzgerald, they'd be winning natties again. I heard that too.
Darnell Autry's not walking through that door, brother.
Right,
like, they're not going back to the Rose Bowl.
No.
So I'll never understand it, and it was very, very bad timing for the Northwestern football program being at the All-Star break and all that kind of stuff. So, it is. And DMac, I'll never understand how this stuff goes on still, as you said, in today's day and age. I'll never get it. I know you guys probably had like rookie things you had to do in the NHL, like carry bags. I know, like with Oakland, freshmen have to help the trainer carry the bags. That's just the way that it works.
More all that stuff, more junior into whatever. But there are certain things. More in the NHL, they're going to get you in your pocketbook. They got to buy a meal or do different things like that. But I don't know. That's sort of shocking to me. A little bit. It took me a little bit back of what the allegations were of hazing, because it is Northwestern, and I just never thought. But it just goes to show you it's everywhere.
No question. And for him to come out and say, "Oh, I had no idea this stuff." That's the one.
That's even more aloof to your program being one of so you suck and you don't have a finger on the pulse of your team at all. I mean, it's almost like I believe that makes more sense, and I think he's honest because I don't think he gave a shit. How would you give a shit? You're a 1-11 team. You don't care about your program or whatever else. Like we don't hear, we hear the Teflon. Like he was. Would you put Pat Fitzgerald up there with like Nick Saban and as far as like untouchables up until this point? Like it always felt like that. So how long was he there? 20?
A million years, man.
17.
I bet him.
He was there
how
17 years.
17.
Just goes to show you, man, like how nondescript it was. He was up for the Chicago Bears head coaching job. And Chicago wanted him.
Chicago did want him.
He's like, nah, bro, I'm good here.
No, and because he except if you have a hazing scandal, he probably could have had a head coaching job for life there. They could have had multiple 1-11 seasons. He would have still been there. He is the face of Northwestern football history because he played there too in the 90s on the Rose Bowl team. But I don't think he earned the untouchable status. I mean, even without all this stuff, which is obviously terrible.
Mark Walston says, welcome to the age of cancel culture where football players are made softer by the minute. Mark, stop with that, bro. Like, go read what's in some of those reports. It's 2023, dude. All right, we don't need that stuff going on. And how is that gonna improve camaraderie or make your football team better? Who, oh, by the way, is 1-11. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. I don't get the reason we have to talk about it repeatedly because it repeatedly happens. The thing that irritates me the most about it is he looks to and says, I had no idea that stuff was going on. Bullshit. You're a Division I head football coach. Granted,
then
it's in the Big Ten, but
you're
still.
even more pathetic than I thought you
Bingo.
were.
Nice try. Nice try, Pat. But we saw past that one. So I don't understand it, but here we are. Every single time, we got to talk about this. One thing that I like that happens every single time when we broadcast at Dispo, I do like that.
So do I. And you know what? You can join us and the Dispo family live at their Hazel Park location on July 14th for Ermanni and Edwards and the Woodward heavyweights from 2 to 7 p.m. Come prepared as Dispo Dispensary takes your cannabis experience to new heights, located at 634 West 9 Mile Road, Hazel Park, Michigan. We'll see you there for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz and the Heavies. Live July 14th. Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
Winning is a habit. So is listening daily to Woodward Sports. We're glad you're a winner, and thanks for listening.
Hey, it's Sean Jordan from the Sports Marketing Agency, and SMA wouldn't be who we are without our amazing partners.
Thank you so much, Sean. At Detroit Wayne, we want to serve as a resource for you and your families. We offer mental health services, substance use disorder services throughout our communities, and we want to be that source and resource within the community.
If you or a loved one are suffering from a mental health or substance abuse issue, please don't hesitate to call 1-800-241-4949.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevrolet dealer. Come see our people out here. Sam Flannel, maybe not the best spokesman for it, but Sam Flannel bought a car here from Feldman Chevrolet. Easy, right? Easy process.
Took me about 3.5 hours. That's nothing for buying a car, by the way. Nothing.
Yeah, that is true. Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, JB Smoove here. Alex is out in the house as well. But we do need to move on to this. Pistons broke some news this morning. Isaiah Stewart signed a contract extension. He will be playing this upcoming season, on his initial rookie deal. The extension kicks in next year. 4 years, $64 million. And, AAV of about $16 million per year. And DMac, everybody always seems to happen to everybody. NBA contracts really pop people. because the numbers. Remember a couple years ago, Sam Flannel, the Timothy Mozgov deal.
Oh yeah,
4 years, $60 million.
Yeah,
he got never played.
Never played.
Yeah, but DMac, that's in the NBA in today's day and age. That's just the market. That's what it is. You can get in the weeds and break down because the Isaiah Stewart culture out there. There's only two sides: all in or all against. That's it. But DMac, that's just the number. Like, people got to get past the sticker shock, man.
So explain to me why this was a good deal by Troy Weaver. I don't, we were talking about all the GMs in this town, and they don't make frivolous moves and stuff, and there's a reason for it. Is it just the temperature of? Is it more like when we were talking about DeBrincat's contract and the way where it fits in? And this is like we're beef stew. This is the guy, and this is what you got to pay him. Obviously, he is a part of your team. How big of a part of your team and moving forward, but he's a role player. He's a guy, he's the physical guy. He's your Mahorn, right? He's your guy that's going to stick up for all the younger teammates. I like this. And so my question is financially, is this apropos?
It's market value.
So then what's the thing? You're going to end up paying somebody else to play that role. I think the one thing about Isaiah Stewart is that he's got a role to play and he knows what role that is to play. So there's nothing wrong with it. And if the money makes sense, you're going to have to pay a guy. And yes, polarizing maybe to the fan base, but if it's part of the process, and to me, it's sort of to me, I look at him as the enforcer. He's their, he's their muscle, their heater, so to speak, if things go south. And obviously Troy Weaver thought as much of him for whatever. Like, I don't look at him, I look at him to play some good defense and get in there and, make some plays and be effective and know that he's in the game. But he ain't one of our big guys that are going to lead us to the promised land.
And he's not making $45 million a year.
He doesn't need to. But $16 million is what in hockey is like $3 million, $4 million.
Yeah, that's a good comp.
So he's that guy, right? He's that guy.
He's an 8th or 9th guy in the NBA.
He's your Ben Sherratt. Right? Right? He's your guy, like the locker room guy, like the guy, the physicality, the guy that other teams look at. Yeah, maybe I'm not going to mess around a little bit. You need those guys.
Sue Yu says Beef Stew's useless, can't defend or score. He's a mascot for $17 million. Well, Sue Yu at $16 million, and he was 11-8 a game last year. That's not
that's. So you're telling me that's where an 11-8 guy sits, especially when he brings a little bit of, grit to the team.
Yeah, 11 points a game, Sam Flannel, 8 I know you're not a beef stew guy, but when you break it down simplistically, in this league, an 11-8 guy figures to be around 15, 16 million. It does. Sorry.
I mean, to me, it's not so much about the money. I mean, I wouldn't pay Beef Stew $16 million a year, but whatever. I'll. That's beside the point. Sue, you kind of brought up something interesting, and I didn't bring this up on the morning show. I kind of wish he would have. Calling Isaiah Stewart a mascot. That's more true than I think a lot of people will be willing to agree with, because Beef Stew, a lot of people like him. He's got the nickname of Beef Stew. He went after LeBron. He's got that grit. He's got that bad boy mentality. But he also did shoot 33% from 3 this past year.
Agree.
That's the thing. If he can ever stretch the floor and get his 3-point shooting up, I would be okay with it, but I don't see any evidence that he can. I know people talk like he did stretch the floor. When 33% on 4 attempts per game is not good. It's detrimental to your team. He plays. Go ahead, DMac.
No, I was just going to say, but we're talking about, and we've talked with Lindsay about what Monty Williams is going to bring in here and sort of the system of whatever, playing better defense. Isn't he a guy that isn't his role, right? Like, I don't look for him like for 3 balls and stuff like this. I look for him to play hard minutes, good defense and stuff. And I know that's a knock, but isn't this what we're going to transition to, where he's a guy to come off the bench to give, to do what he does? Don't you need guys like him?
He's an 8th
Doesn't
man.
every team have a guy like him?
100%.
Right.
Like it's
whether
the
it's their
marketplace.
mascot or whatever else. 11-8 isn't a mascot.
Yeah, and look, Flannel, like, am I here to say Beef Stew is a borderline all-star or anything like that? No. It fits in the marketplace of where it is. And again, an 11-8 guy. Forget two. He's 23.
Right.
Can Monty Williams get more out of this guy?
And there are two wild cards here. That's number one. You don't think Monty Williams was consulted in all this as well?
To have him, right, because he's going to be here for his contract unless he gets traded, right? So there's got to be some caveat. You got to read between the lines and whatever else of wanting to get it done.
No question. And here's the other kicker, too. And you and I talked about this a little bit before we came on the show, and Pistons Fan 11 brought it up, so I know that we're vibing on the same wavelength. And Flannel, this is a little nuanced right here, so stay with me on this one. There was a little bit of a premium paid by the Pistons for Stewart to give up that 4th year as a team option. Took a couple bucks more, on the front end of it that was guaranteed. The Pistons got the team option in that 4th year. That's big because guess what? If things don't work out, you just move on.
Yeah, but
and there's no penalty to it. You just move on.
I know, but do I really want to watch another couple years of Isaiah Stewart potentially hurt the team if he can't improve his three-point shot? I understand he plays pretty good perimeter defense. He's a little bit too short, I would say, to be an effective rim protector.
Yeah,
but
I would agree.
You know what's a good thing? It's a good thing that I got more trust in Troy Weaver and Monty Williams than I do in Sam Flannel. So, and I'm almost the fact that Sam Flannel, like the tea leaves, is so against this and in that camp, that's why it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, see ya, and I'll spend 16 on another dude.
Yeah, and remember, too, this is a league where the top guys are going to make $60 million.
Right.
Like, I think that the sticker shock plays the biggest part in all this, and it just furthers the divide.
But when you realize it's only like $3 million in hockey or in baseball, it's like
8 to 9, yeah, 8 to 9 million, 10 million in baseball. Like those are the comps on it. So I'm not outraged the same way that other people are outraged about it. It's a control. Is it a little bit of a gamble? I guess, but there's some protections. The hand's insured against blackjack, DMac. You know what I'm saying?
Some people play that way, right? It just seems to be the smarter way to play, especially when you're building.
Yeah.
When you're not a playoff team, when you're trying to get to the next level, you have to take every security and fail safe to protect yourself, right? When you get into those waters in the playoffs or whatever, then you can freewheel and take those chances. We're not there yet. I think more of this, too, is Monty Williams. I'd love to hear what he had to say of why it's extended, because that's the difference. And you know that he has to be part of his game plan moving forward to however he's going to use them.
Yeah, WoodwardSports.com chat thread Mark says $16 million a year is worth it for beef stew. And I think if you look at it in those terms instead of $64 million for beef stew, just look at what it's relative to. I'm not pounding the table for it. I'm not pounding the table against it. It's a controlled spin on a guy. That's kind of the way you put it, DMac. I would say
controlled spin. Great.
You
have to do that right now. Do you not? Right?
Yeah. I mean, do you have to? It's just I think that Monty Williams thinks there's something there that he can unlock. Remember that the offense is going to, and Sam Flannel, remember this, the offense is going to change drastically.
Oh, 100%.
Drastically.
And as long as he's here, I have to accept it. I hope that he can improve his three-point shot and his shot overall, and I hope that I'm dead wrong. I haven't seen any evidence of it yet.
Maybe we can get Beef Stew and Big Ben to come in at the same time. That'd be cool.
That's the thing, though. If he wasn't Beef Stew and he didn't go after LeBron, I don't think people would think as highly of him.
But he is.
He's become a cult hero.
What about this? In the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, Flannel Sam hurts the team, but you guys keep him around.
Hey, I mean, I would disagree with that, but I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat that would agree with whoever said that.
Yeah, it's just for me also too, like the whole Draymond Green comp and stuff like that. Like it's not the same. And oh, by the way, he's what, $10 million cheaper than that anyway?
Sure.
For those that say there is a comp, he's what, 40% less money?
Yeah.
It'll blow your way up with until you start talking NBA contracts and stuff like this. But look at the money that's thrown around, right? Like $25 million for a guy who's maybe an all-star, maybe not an all-star. That's what. It's crazy.
You should have been 7 inches taller, DMac.
Still got a 3-inch vertical. It wouldn't work. But you know what would work?
What does work?
Absolutely. Guardian Alarm. You know it. You love it. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, professional technicians. Take the time to recommend security, automation solutions specific to your needs. But I need you to call the number today. 1-800.
Stay out.
24/7 professional monitoring. Call anytime, day or night. Know the Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as it's needed. But I need you to call the number. 1-800.
Stay out.
Technology backed by people. Yes, real people. Homo sapiens. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and real people who have been proven to care. How do I know? How do I know? Here's an example. Guardian Alarm has been protecting Flannel Sam. Yes, Flannel Sam's flannel. For how many straight days?
314.
We're only
314.
We're only 51 days away.
314. Yes, 314 straight days of flannel protection. Hey, Guardian Alarm, they don't care. Business, personal, even if you're Sam Flannel, they will protect you. But I need you to call the number today, 1-800.
Stay out. Stay out of the pitching mound the rest of the season, Joey Wentz. Now that Matt Manning and Tarek Skubal are back.
Stay out of the Red Wings salary cap, Zadina's contract. Oh, that's right, it is.
Ooh.
There you go. And stay in. Alex DeBrincat, whatever you need. Guardian Alarm has got your back. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts, tell them Big D Energy, we sent you.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, JB Smooth. That's with a V, because he's smooth here as well. We got our guy, Alex. We're live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's #1 Chevrolet dealer. Those are facts, not opinion. Many people here at Woodward Sports have bought their Chevrolets through Feldman Chevrolet. But DMac, I did want to get to this. Oh, real quick, too. LFG, talking about, you said 314 consecutive days of flannel?
Yes.
LFG says, but there's been 400 consecutive days of flannel harassment. Is that true?
I don't think how many days before the streak was I even working here? I don't think it's been quite 400, but pretty close.
325.
325.
That sounds about right.
What are you going to do after this is over? Are you going to wear like a regular shirt to work? Do you have a regular shirt?
I don't know if I can find a regular shirt. The only time I wear them is usually to the gym or maybe occasionally on the weekend. So that's a tough one. I'll have to think about that. I got 51 work days to ponder.
What's your gut reaction to that question?
Probably still wear flannels to work.
It's his shtick.
That's his thing, man. Absolute bad takes and flannels, man. The Jets in the AFC Championship game and flannel shirts.
That one hasn't played itself out yet, so it could still very much be a good take.
Okay.
Why don't you wear your Meat Riding Aaron Rodgers jersey for the rest of the thing?
We have lunch on it, as a matter of fact. We certainly do. But yeah, all this talk about DeBrincat and the Pistons to a degree, certainly the continued excitement for the Lions. We'll talk Lions in just a couple of minutes. But DMac, I have a little spin here that I wanted to run by you, run by the people on the woodwardsports.com chat thread. The DeBrincat trade really got the engines revved, right? Because that's a move you make when you've turned a corner. as a franchise. It feels like the Red Wings have turned. I'm not saying Stanley Cup contenders, DMac, but you know what I'm saying.
That's a move you make when you feel you're ready
to roll,
to turn the corner.
When you're ready to roll.
When you're ready to make that turn, right? You need that extra, firepower, because everybody today, look at before and after to where we're sitting right now, right? Are the Wings a playoff team? There's a chat poll. The Wings a playoff team today because they're a heck of a lot closer, and they got that caveat, Neal. The caveat, which is a goal scorer in today's game at 40 goals, being one of the highest guys. When you look at goals in the league, you're hoping to see this guy up there in the top 10.
You expect
that puts
it.
you on it. You expect it. That puts you on a different level, right? Yes. So anybody. It's the expectations of the playoffs for the Red Wings, which I've had the expectations pre-DeBrincat.
Lindsay has expectations for the Pistons to be in that mix. I think that's a bit aggressive, but
what Lindsay said, playing game, right?
Right.
And that's fine too. Which puts, when we talk, it put more of where I thought the Wings were last year, where we had that few weeks of, oh my gosh, could they do it? No, this year
you went downstairs and found where your car flag was. Like you blew the dust. You didn't quite mount it in the windshield.
But
now you know. Now you have it ready to go.
Absolutely. and time will tell with the Pistons, but like you look at what Lindsay's been saying even about the Tiger or about the Lions. Why not?
Why do you not expect for Super Bowl?
Right. But to the point, right? Things have changed in our fandom here in Detroit, and it's real, and it's legit, because we started, go back, Woodward Sports, anywhere you catch the rewind. What did you say? It's different, and it's the GMs, and it's the organizations and the way that they're doing business like real organizations. So yes, we always use the analogy of down 75, where are we at?
Going up
We're
north.
all closer to the playoffs. And you know what? Into the thing where my fandom is the expectations for two teams, the Lions and the Red Wings, to get back into the playoffs, and the Pistons to follow slowly behind. Their clock's on for after this year to next year.
And I would agree with that. And look, I like that you brought that up. If you want to do the going up north analogy, I think that the Lions right now are at Standish.
Yes.
Right? Like they're up there where you're up north now. You're starting to see the hills and things like that. I think that the Red Wings, as you look at where the Red Wings are, I would say that they're about to Birch Run, Saginaw.
See, I would say
maybe the Zilwaukee Bridge.
Mine's a little bit. See, I go
Zilwaukee Bridge.
The Wings are past exit 162,
okay.
27.
Bay City.
Almost.
They're in Bay City.
They're in Bay City.
Yes.
But the Lions, they're more to Gaylord.
Okay, so they're like Houghton Lake.
They're up there.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the hype. And then the Pistons, the Pistons are.
I think the Pistons are at the
Auburn Hills.
No, I think the Pistons are at the Jesus sign in Flint.
Exit 102.
You know what I'm talking about.
You on the right road?
Are you on the
right road?
That's the staple of the beginning trip
highway
up north. Yeah,
there it is. Is that the official you feel up north?
Yes, that's when you know that you're going up north. They're at the Jesus sign.
But the thing
is
that we can all agree. Can we not all agree? Even Flannel would agree. Is that we're ascending. We're moving in the right direction finally.
Yes,
all of them.
And this is a long way. Real quick, too, I want to address this. Chad Fisher, WoodwardSports.com chat thread. I want to see Monty's 3-second pass and shoot ball, faster ball should give more points. Chad, that's not the way it's going to work. There's quicker decisions within a possession, man. Like that's the way that it's not necessarily more possessions. It's not necessarily quicker shots. It's more of a ball movement within a possession.
Game, right?
Transition's not even a
but
good
isn't it using
count.
our speed? Like, isn't it using our athletic ability and the Ivy and all that stuff to get the ball?
That I'm talking about, like when they have a half-court possession. You will notice the ball fires around quicker. They make quicker decisions within a second and a half.
Is the thing.
Bingo. That's what it is. I'm trying to really fight against that because I think that's what people are interpreting this whole Monty Williams thing as. Like we're going to be the mid-'90s Denver Nuggets and shoot it within 7 seconds of getting it. That's not the way this is going to work. There isn't going to be more possessions. There's going to be more shots.
Won't we see like them take advantage of some of their transition with the speed of we hear Jaden Ivey can get up the court or whatever like that, but also too being more smart and efficient that when it's not there, taking what is there, right? Isn't that what the good teams do? But it's
moving in the other direction to get what is there.
To get what is there. Taking what is given instead of forcing it.
Yep, Woodward Sports Doc. People love the up north analogy. Motown Sports 89. Haven't noticed you in here before. Appreciate you tapping into the show. Bay City, the Beat Factory, the Pinconning Cheese Place. That's always a big one too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. John Mayer says we need to get the lines to Copper Harbor. Your mother says the Tigers are in Toledo. I will say this with the Tigers. They've got the car packed like the night before. Scott Harris going to get up early in the morning, and they're gonna back out of the subdivision and stuff like that. The car's packed. Okay, he's got a draft
you know
under.
What the analogy is, I think the car's packed, but they're driving around the city picking everybody up, right? Which is going to take
still haven't gone grocery shopping yet.
They got to go from Monroe down. Then they got to go to East Point, and then they got to come, to Novi. They got to get guys. There's just doing the metro circle, picking everybody up on the bus, getting ready to go north.
But I guess, that is the question to me. Do we feel, Tammy Chin, the car's packed, they're hanging out at Cabela's. Let's get in the car, let's go. Get your stuff, let's go, everybody. Maybe they need a new sleeping bag or whatever. They were just going to tackle that before they leave. But I guess the overriding question with all this, DMac, do the people out there on the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, do us in totality, do we feel like we've kind of turned a corner? Has a corner been turned?
I don't know if it's turned the corner, but is
this
real? This is real, right?
Because you say two teams you expect.
Yes, not smoke and
mirrors. Then we've turned a corner.
Yeah. Well, yeah, turned a corner. Is it real? Time. This is the time. This is the first season where legitimately the expectations are up. Right, I have expectations now, and for two of the teams to make the playoffs, and that's a start. And and I'm not even against if you want to think Super Bowl right now, like Lindsay said. I'm even for that because why not?
So if you got two of the teams going from the Siberia that we've been in as a sports city for the last almost decade, going on a decade, if you expect two teams to be in the playoffs, one of them to win. Because I think that's pretty much the consensus, Lions. People are expecting a playoff win this year.
Well, that's because they expect a playoff home game. They expect to win the division, so they expect the playoff home game. And I don't know if I'm even there yet. I want them to. I expect that, but the fact that they make it in the playoffs and win the division, and you have to see how it goes out to determine whether it was disappointing or not. But I think that's just because expectations now are real, Neal.
So that's what it is. Have we turned where do you think, Sam Flannel? Have we turned a corner now?
I would say so with a couple of teams. With the Red Wings, it's going to matter this season what they do on the ice. I expect playoffs as well. With the Lions, I expect playoff win. But even with the Pistons, I think this is the year where you finally see some results played out on the court. I expect them to win 30-plus games because as much as we like a lot of the things that Troy Weaver has done, it hasn't really shown on the court yet. There's been a lot of tanking. There's been some injuries. There have been some bad play. I think this is the year where they at least show something, and then the following year playoffs. But overall as a whole, absolutely.
So there it is. All right, the people around here have spoken. But yeah, you kind of get that feeling. So when we come back, there is a Lions thing that I do want to discuss. Got to talk some football because we're getting to be that time. Spinning into July. Training camp starts in 2 weeks around town. DMac. That's about where we're at, right?
Wow.
Training camp start to get it going. Yeah, about 2 weeks, man. That third week of July, we will be firing everything up. So we do want to get to that and of course wrap things up as well. But hey, big boy, Strawberry Fest. It's on and popping. It's back. Breakfast. Strawberries play a big part in breakfast, like the strawberry hotcakes, the mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Not a breakfast person? That's cool. Strawberry bacon chicken wrap, that is out there for you. Or more the salad route, the refreshing summer splash salad. Don't forget about dessert. That's what birthed all of this. The berry classic. The OG of Strawberry Fest. It is strawberry pie, deep-fried vanilla Oreos for DMac, or strawberry hot fudge cake. All of that and more is out there for you. Get to Strawberry Fest at Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
How would you like to race Darren McCarty on a mower? Join Woodward Sports Network live this Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. as we broadcast live from Christmas in July at Outdoor Equipment Company. Great pricing on everything in stock: mowers, tractors, handhelds, and even snowplows. 0% financing and free delivery. It's Christmas in July at Outdoor Equipment, located in Ray, Michigan.
Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty, Sam Flannel, JB Smoove, Alex out here as well, live at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, Michigan's number one Chevrolet dealer.
Small flex on that being live Thursday. Yeah. And what Sam meant by that, I'm going to get in all those Tonka toys and drive them around and whatever. So come on out. They told me I can get to go play with all the outdoor equipment there and stuff like this. So come on out and race me. Let's go.
Tammy Chin says, where is Ray, Michigan? That's up Washington Township, Romeo Way, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that's up in the Can we see your house from there?
No, it's the gates and the security guards are in the way.
The clouds are in the way for the castle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Artificial clouds,
Yeah, you pump that stuff out.
Yep, 100%.
Unbelievable.
I know it makes me sad. I won't be in on Thursday. That makes me sad when I miss a gimme. That's right by the house right there. I got the DMac treatment. Got the golf outing on Thursday. So there's that. All right. But DMac, you can swing by while you're on that bad boy mower.
Yeah.
Can you swing by and clean it up real quick?
The house?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me? You're actually, whoa. I thought you were like, that was your thing. You let another man touch
It is. I trust you. I trust you with it.
Okay. Yeah, because you know that I take pride.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Got to get the zero turn out there. We'll see.
Mike G. Romeo, is that near Port Austin? No, it is. No, it is not. Out by Shelby Township, as a matter of fact. But I did want to get into this quick Lions discussion where, when you asked this question, DMac, this would have been an absurd question to ask last year. I don't think it's as absurd. I'm compromised in my answer in it. Who will be the better unit for the Lions next year? The offensive line or the secondary? And I know there's a snap reaction answer to that. Well, obviously, Neal, you talk about this offensive line all the time. You're a simp for Penei Sewell. Yes, all those things are true. That is the case. But, DMac, you had a great answer to this.
I hope that 6 games into the season that we have this conversation or this chat poll, and it's actually something that it's a tough decision. Why? Because we know what we're going to get out of our offensive line, right? They're going to be one of the best, hopefully top 5 in the league, projected that. The secondary, if it's in the same conversation, right, with the ability, means that the guys that we've added and things that we've done, we've improved on where we were deficient last year, right? We're talking our bread and butter is our offensive line. What is the identity of this football club if you're gonna look to the Detroit Lions. You pin it on their offensive line. So the fact that you're in the same conversation with your secondary, that was something that was a hindrance last year. Holy cow, Neal. If that's the case, what are you, 4-2, 5-1? Right?
Yes.
Like if you're having these conversations, right, where you've improved the utter deficiency, right? That's like taking your power play. That's like taking the Red Wings power play from 12% to 23%. Like being top in the league, being up there with like Tampa Bay and Boston and all these other teams. But the reality is that we gonna see. We gonna see.
I like when DMac drops the Drake lines.
And there's a possibility. Speaking of, he was in town the other day. So.
Yes, a couple shows. Was it 2 shows, right?
I don't know. We were just smoking blunts in the back.
Fair enough. Again, for me, I'm compromised when I answer that question because I think Penei Sewell is the one that changed everything for this franchise, which there'll be some pushback on that, but I do believe that his arrival changed the entire complexion of the franchise. So I'm always going to default.
In saying that, why can't it be the arrival of a CJ Gardner-Johnson or a Cam Sutton or somebody on this defense, right, to make the same sort of impact? We don't look at it that way, but you got to best believe. Like, training camp is going to, as exciting as it's been, doing the hard knocks and watching this evolution, training camp this year is going to be off the hook because of the competition and what the guys are fighting for, man. It's unbelievable. When I played the softball game up in Lansing with Malcolm Rodriguez and got to talk to him, when I asked him about OTAs or the locker room, like we were just BSing about life and stuff, and then I said, hey, how was OTAs and being around the guys? His eyes lit up. Like, I know that feeling. It's like, oh, man, we can't wait to get to work and work together. So, like, we're talking about the secondary, Neal. The next thing you're going to tell me is that what's going to be better, our offensive line or our defense against the rush, top in the league? I mean, now you're getting ridiculous, right? Like, but doesn't the secondary question because of the inefficiencies last year on third down? That's blatant. So that puts you ahead to where we think this team is.
I would say inefficiencies on third down for the last 60 years. Doesn't it seem like every team always converts a 3rd and 13, 14, 18, 19? Like, you can almost pencil in a first down every single time throughout the Lions' history. Mark Walston says Cam Sutton and C.J. Gardner have changed the entire Lions' secondary. And yes, that seems to be the case. But again, I think people forget, and we're almost to the point where we're taking it for granted, where Ransom says offensive line milking the clock, keeping the possessions, first downs, and running the ball wins football games. And Ransom, I think that they can do it any way you want to do it. If it's pass block, that's fine. Look at the level of talent that's on that offensive line. I think we're already in the start of maybe taking that for granted. Because of how dominant Penei Sewell projects to be, is already / will become. Taylor Decker, the veteran that he's been. Frank Ragnow's one of the best in the league at his position. It's just so wild to me that this Lions offense, this Lions team, has a unit, DMac, that's in the discussion to be one of the best in football. And it's non-negotiable. Like, it's a universally held truth. That's what I'm still struggling with that.
Struggling to believe it?
Yes.
And that's okay. Just let it happen. Because here's the one thing, and here's the struggle, right? You're going to do, and we're talking about the Lions, and I'd say it the same way with the Red Wings, right? Is let it play out. Have the patience, and let's watch it in front of us, because the way that everything's played out, the way that it's set up, you're supposed to feel that way, Neal. And the reason with the Lions is because we haven't had that feeling. Is it real? Is it true? And every day that it gets closer, it feels more realistic. But we're going to wait and see. We're going to find out.
I know, man.
Imagine that conversation, though. Right? You're talking about the secondary and the offensive line, right? Which last year, if you talked about them, you'd say, oh, what's your best and what's your worst?
And there was no debate.
That's what
whatsoever.
So now to have that question, wow. I hope, 6 games in, that this is a chat poll question.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Catspot says Neal consistently overrates the Detroit Lions offensive line. They only averaged 4.2 yards per carry last year. I mean, if you're into weird things like yards, they were the 5th best in the National Football League. Better than the Bengals, by the way. Your guy, Joe Burrow.
Oh, my guy. Mark Lucas's guy.
Better than the Chargers.
Yeah.
With your God and Savior, Justin Herbert. The best quarterback in the National Football League, I was told.
No, that's Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert's
best quarterback in the National Football League, I was told.
Top 5.
It's weird. And what's the linchpin of the offense? Where does it all start, man?
Offensive line.
That's it. That's all. All right, we're going to take our last break. When we come back, we will put this thing to bed. Flannel, tell them about Swiss.
Absolutely, and that's Swiss Insurance. And now that summer's here, it is important to make sure you are properly covered. Whether it's a grad party or just a group of people over to enjoy the lake or pool, your liability exposure increases significantly in summertime. Let the Swiss Insurance Group review your coverage and make sure you are protected from an unexpected loss. Check us out at SwissINS.com or call Mark today at 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at WoodwardSports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl, Darren McCarty. We have Sam Flannel, JB Smoove as well, live at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevrolet dealer. Remember, in the market for a Blazer. They've been tough to get. They just got a fresh shipment in here. So come down and get your Chevy Blazer from our people here at Feldman Chevrolet. Stop by, say hi to Ryan Poulter. He finished, 3rd in our pick'em last year, right, DMac? 4th? Somewhere near the back. I don't know.
I don't know. I was at the top, so I mean, I was looking down. I felt like you at home, lording over the people. So
we are running
that
back.
We'll run her back again.
Yeah, we absolutely are. I confirmed that with Ryan. So we are going to be doing our weekly pick'em segment as well. That was fun. I look forward to that on the weekends. That certainly was a lot of fun. So hey. Just kind of wrapping things up
Between my
now.
football record and your gut right record,
you could do okay for yourself.
You would, you could be in here buying a new Blazer.
Not even buying it, just picking it out and handing somebody a briefcase full of cash. Say, hey, here's your money. Where's the keys? I'll see you later. That's how Sam Flannel buys his cars. But yeah, DMac, just kind of wrapping things up, I guess, in a review. Alex DeBrincat is here. The deal got done. We're ready to rock, right? And you said it yourself, man. You expect the playoffs, or you'll ask the questions, and they took a big step towards that.
No, absolutely, man. You went out and got a guy that you absolutely need, and there's very few that are natural goal scorers. The biggest thing that excites me was the inefficiency on the power play last year, and this guy is a power play. What'd you say, 50-some goals in the past 4 years or 3 years?
52, I believe.
52. And he just finds the back of the net. So it'll be interesting and exciting. And here's the one thing, too. With all the guys you have, it's up to Derek Lalonde to figure out, okay, who works with who. And it might not be on the top line to DeBrincat with Larkin and Raymond, but I just got to think that that's where it starts.
Here's a good one, DMac. Some of the Japanese media just tweeted this out. At the All-Star workout today, Shohei Ohtani and Michael Lorenzen handshakes out there in the outfield. That's right. Just a couple All-Stars, Sam Flannel. Lorenzen and Ohtani.
Hey, with that last start Michael Lorenzen had, he padded his all-star stats. He's now 3-6 with a 4.02 ERA. That looks a lot better than 2-6 with a 4.20-some. But yeah, they were former teammates in Los Angeles, obviously. So good to see. Still, Michael Lorenzen as an all-star does not look right.
Steve Reinhart. Speaking of,
hold on.
Yes.
When they were announcing it, 3-6 with a 4.0 whatever 15 starts. I was like honestly, I know you have to have a representative, but is that more glaring to the fact of what you have in this team as opposed to the rest of the league? Or?
Well, it wasn't going to be a hitter. Like we knew that. You know, there were no guys in the lineup that it was going to be.
More, I would have expected more of a relief guy.
You going to watch the All-Star game tonight? You'll tap in.
I will tap in.
Yeah.
I like that, though, because I like to see, those matchups that you don't get to see all the time and one swing of the bat. It's always exciting. Who's going to win the MVP? How long are guys going to play? Who's going to get in the longest, So, yeah, I'll tap in. But I'm a baseball nerd, bro.
All right, well, that will wrap things up from here. Big thank you to everyone at Feldman Chevrolet, George, Ryan Poulter, everybody up here. Awesome.